for leadership or agents or both?
Yeah. So we do 2 events per year for real estate agents, and we do 2 events per year just for team and brokerage and downline owners or leaders of large networks. So the one coming up in January is an agent-focused event that's called the Live Unreal Summit. That is 3.5 days of sales, marketing, like pure, like if you were to say, hey, Jeff, I just want my people to sell more homes, like that's what we do every day. We help agents sell more homes. Now, don't get me wrong. We do still have something every day for leaders. Every day there's a special session for leaders. So while the agents stay in the main ballroom, all of the leaders of teams and brokerages go into a separate space and have their own, content or whatever. We have masterminds specifically for leaders, but we also have stuff for operations people. That's been a growing group within our audience. A lot of what ends up happening is a great company like yours brings the right-hand person and they bring their implementer. And so the implementer has something to do every day as well. So they're not just sitting in a big ballroom with a bunch of real estate agents. So no, the January event called the Live Unreal Summit is primarily for real estate agents. And I will tell you, half the agents in the audience are agents on teams and half the agents in the audience are solo producers. So what's nice about that is you guys know there's not really a lot of events for agents on teams, right? I'll never forget. I went to an event where the leader of the event I had 30 people in the conference, by the way. The leader of the event actually said from stage, I kid you not on this, I don't know why agents join teams. They can make a lot more money on their own. The leader of the event said this. So So I just remember from that point forward, if I get to do what that person's doing one day, I'm going to make sure teams feel very welcome in our space. And so, that we have somewhat become the sales training conference for teams, but there's obviously a lot of solo producers in our environment as well. So
anybody listening to this, I think you can make, I know for a fact, you can make a lot of money as a solo and a lot of money as an individual agent. There's so much nuance to that conversation that standing up on stage and making that bold of a statement with no context.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It wasn't smart. And also the agency, because you're right. When we look at, we look at split versus net, sure. Your top line. Okay, fine. You want to have a higher 1099, but your bottom line, that doesn't mean your bottom line is going to be higher.
Sure.
So anyways, it's January 12th through the 15th in Phoenix. And it's great. There'll be 1,500 agents there from all over North America, from all brokerages.
Where can someone go to sign up for that?
You just go to glovery.com/summit. That has the whole agenda, who's speaking, all that. It's very much, if you were to say, like, Jeff, what are my agents going to take away from that? They're going to learn how to sell more real estate. And we do that through sales training. We do that through social media training. We do that through teaching them how to be better in their videos, marketing. It's very much how to teach someone how to sell more homes.
Wow.
Yeah. And, well, just for what it's worth, I remember, I think the first time I ever saw you was probably like 2014 or 15 on stage. I went to a listing class and I told you, you don't remember this, I'm sure, but I was like, dude, you're the only person that's like kept me engaged. And I actually took some stuff away from, and, there was a lot of really talented speakers. It was just, for where I was at, I wanted actual, like, no BS. And that's what I love about you. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you, just for people that don't know?
Yeah, well, I'm excited for you guys to bring the team out to the summit.
Yep. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Damn you, Chase. We're live.
Yeah, we'll hit it, dude. Yeah.
All right,
cut that out of the live.
Let's get started. All right. Real Estate Growth Network friends, today's episode is amazing. We have someone who truly lives and breathes the real estate grind. And honestly, he makes it look easy. Jeff Glover is in the building. And if you have been in the business longer than 5 minutes, you've probably heard his name. He runs Glover U and the Glover Agency, and #1 team in his state, Michigan. He's a beast on the phone, a legend in listings, and honestly, one of the few coaches out there who's actually still in the trenches. You're still actually selling real estate.
Yep,
so we're pumped to have you. Jeff, give us a little bit about you. Like,
awesome. Yeah. So I started in real estate at 18 years old. I got my real estate license right out of high school. All my friends were going to college, and I was actually selling furniture while I was in high school, and I was doing pretty well at that. I had a high school counselor that said, well, why don't you just stick with sales? And so I actually considered going into the car business, but then I thought, that's not as professional as real estate. So as soon as I turned 18, got my real estate license, sold 32 houses my first year, cold calling and door knocking. That was all I knew. And then 18 months of selling real estate, I decided I wanted to learn how to manage. And I did something a little different than probably most in the industry. And I swear, when I look at my track, I really credit a lot of what I'm doing today to that time. And it actually was like, call it ego, call it jealousy, call it whatever. But all my friends were going to college to get degrees, right? And I went into real estate. And I didn't want to be the one like loser salesperson, my whole life. And so I just kind of, at that age, you think, well, all my friends, I grew up in a town where like you were basically a loser if you didn't go to college. So I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. If I were to go to college, I would probably go into like business management or marketing or something like that. And then I'd probably get a degree and I'd end up running a company or running an office or running something. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to beat all my friends to the job that they're going to try to get when they graduate college. I'm going to go run a real estate office. So when I was just about to turn, when I was 20 years old, so yeah, about 18 months in the business, I approached my broker. We had 16 offices around Metro Detroit, and my broker said I needed a little bit more seasoning before I could run one of his offices. So as you can imagine, 19, 20 years old, hearing that after just selling 32 houses your first year, you're like kind of up yours, right? So I went around town, found a lady that would take a chance on me. Her name's Kathy Schweitzer. And she and her husband, Paul, had 16 Coldwell Banker offices around Metro Detroit. And so Kathy took a chance on me at age 20 to run an office. It became the fastest growing office in the chain in 2 years. And I learned how to run a brokerage at age 20, 21, 22 years old. And so after a couple of years of doing that, because of the success of that one office, they promoted me to director of training and recruiting of all 16 of their offices. So now I went from just training and coaching real estate agents to now I was responsible for training leaders on how to train agents and how to coach agents and how to recruit and so forth. And so I would travel to each office and do that. And then, by the way, cool full circle story. That same lady that hired me when I was 20 years old that took a chance on me, she's now the CEO of Glover U, Kathy Schweitzer. Wow. So it's kind of like full circle story, right? So after doing that for, a couple of years and learning how to lead, learning how to manage, learning how to train, I decided to step back into real estate. And my first full year back into sales, I sold 102 homes. And because if you think about it, I had plenty of knowledge. I'd already sold 32 my first year. I was already training agents on how to get better. I was going to conferences, right? So I had all the knowledge. It's just now I just needed to apply it. And so that was 2008. I sold 102 homes, no team, no admin, just myself doing this and doing this. And from there, I needed help. So that's kind of organically how Glover Agency, or what was known as Jeff Glover and Associates, was born. And in 2009, opened up my own office space. And since then, the team has grown and we do about 1,000 units a year with 32 salespeople.
Can I just like dive a little deeper into, because it instantly popped into my head. You're talking about these massive numbers in 2008 and then starting a organization in 2009. And it was just all upward trajectory from then.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody I talked to who was in real estate in 2008 and 2009 said we were like clawing and fighting just to stay afloat. We weren't growing. What was different?
Well, I think I had a couple things working in my favor. Number one, I didn't know any better. Those were my growth years, right? So to me, it was like, well, I don't care what's going on in the market. You're supposed to sell more homes the next year. So those were my growth years, but I was also, my two top sources of business were expires and FSBOs. So, in Detroit, I had 40 to 50 expired opportunities a day because of how much, we had over 100,000 homes for sale in Metro Detroit at one time. We average on any given Tuesday, like 22,000 homes for sale. So we had a lot of expires. We had a lot of for sale by owners. And that I just happened to have that skill early on in the business because I didn't know any better. My very first broker asked me, he sat me down. I was almost about to quit the business. He sat me down and said, well, Jeff, you need to decide. Do you want to be an employer or an employee in this business? And so what does that mean? He said, well, the employers work their butts off Monday through Friday from 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning until 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, going out into the market, into the streets, taking listing inventory for all the employees to spend their nights, their weekends, their holidays, their otherwise would-be time with family out showing all the inventory of the employers. So let's first decide which one of those two you're going to be. I said, well, based on that, I think I want to be an employer. He said, okay, good. You're going to be a listing agent then. I said, perfect. Now what? He said, you're going to have to, and he pulled out from his bottom left-hand desk drawer. I remember it like it was yesterday. He opened up this script book. He fanned the pages. He said, Jeff, these are all the scripts from all the great trainers today. Now, by the way, this was 2003. All right. So back then there wasn't any social media. So, today you sell 7 homes and you're like this trainer, CEO, founder, extraordinaire, all the thing. Right. So these were like Floyd Wickman, Mike Ferry, Brian Buffini, like the old school trainer scripts. And he said, you're going to pull out 2 prospecting scripts and 1 listing appointment script that resonates with you, one that you feel comfortable delivering. So I flipped through that. I grabbed an expired script. I grabbed a for sale by owner script. I grabbed the listing script. And he gave me an assignment. I had to write it out once a day for 30 days. I had to chant it once a day for 30 days. And I had to role play it once a day for 30 days. And, that's kind of how I got my start in the skills in the areas of for sale by owners and expired. So to answer your question, yeah, I was winning in a down market because I was just happened to be by accident focusing on a business that was plentiful in a down market. I didn't get into REO or any of that stuff. There were plenty of expires to go around, and there were plenty of for sale by owners who could not sell on their own.
Wow. So my thought process is, as I'm listening to this, is, we're in the business of coaching agents and talking to agents every single day. And like, they're wondering why their business is down or why their business isn't going to the next level or what have you. And probably one of the most common things that I hear you saying that I don't hear them, that they should be saying is like, you just have to practice a lot and get really good at knowing what to say.
Yeah. So I know this sounds corny. I know this sounds whatever, but you'll see at our event in January, I actually make the audience stand up and we rehearse scripts and dialogues together. Because here's what I know in 23 years of doing this. All right. The stronger you are with your sales skills, the more confident you're going to have to go out and convert. And, that is a time-tested activity. I don't care that it's 2025 and we got AI doing this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, for people who ask me, well, Jeff, really, you think learning scripts and skills is still like going to be a thing? Watch. Until there's no more listing appointment or buyer consultation, yes. But for the foreseeable future, we're going to have listing appointment, we're going to have buyer consultation. That's not going anywhere because people make a decision on who they're going to hire largely based on how we make them feel. And how do we make someone feel a certain way? By what we say. And so everyone's saying something, but is it working for them? And in most cases, just being themselves is not going to cause them to become top producers.
You said something, and I'm curious what you think about this. But to me, in the eyes of a consumer, confidence equals competence. Do you agree with that?
Without question, because just conversion alone, you walk into a listing appointment and in the back of your mind, you can handle any objection they throw at you. You can answer any question they give you because you've practiced, you've rehearsed, your stuff inside and out. That's going to show through when you're in there meeting with the seller. And they're going to feel that. They're going to sense that. And they're going to say, you know what? If I'm trusting my most valuable asset to someone, I want to trust it with a strong sales professional. They want, that's the biggest difference between listing agents and buyer's agents. Buyers want a pleasant experience. Buyers want to enjoy the agent they're working with and make sure they secure a home. Sellers don't care about the experience. They don't need to like you. They want to respect you. They want to trust you, and they want to know that you're going to tell them the truth. And so that mastering the dialogues will, without question, raise your confidence, which is going to raise your conversion.
So speaking of mastering dialogues, you brought up a plan that you were given, which was 30 days. Yeah. I just want to clarify, first of all, was that 90 days total. So
It
you
was
did
90 total. Yeah.
Okay, so you
And
wrote
I
it
didn't
out
know
for
the rest of the
30.
plan. I swear he made this up on the spot. He gave me the assignment to go write out the scripts for 30 days. And I thought at the end of the 30 days, I'd be ready to go. And he said, no. He said, I got another thing for you, Jeff. What's that? Now, by the way, I was still doing open house. I was attending contracts training, but I wasn't selling any homes. I started in May of 03. My first closing was in January of 04. And I went through this little program of his during the summer. And by the way, September of 2003, my first month out of his little 90-day program that I think he made up on the spot, I took 11 listings, not knowing any different, just following the scripts.
So just, I want to get super clear. 30 days writing it out, then the next 30 days chanting it out loud, and then the last 30 days presenting.
Role playing it with somebody in the office or with him. And that when I say 30 days, it was 5 days a week for a month.
Got it. Yeah. I'm tracking. Okay.
And
Do
chanting,
you still
I was
feel
chanting the expired script, the for sale by owner script, and the listing script.
Got it. Do you still feel that's the best way to learn a script, or do you have different ways now?
Without question, we just speed up the process. So we do the exact same thing to this day with our team. All right. We have a couple series that we run every year. We'll have a listing mastery series. We'll have a buyer mastery series. We'll have a price reduction series where they're actually, on Mondays. So what? Here's the formula. Ready? On Mondays, we write. On Wednesdays, we chant. On Fridays, we role play. So if you come into our office on a Monday, you'll see everyone at the conference table with their heads down. And to the left of their yellow pads or white pads of paper, whatever paper they choose, to the left, you'll see a script. To the right, you'll see them writing. And it'll be dead silent. Like you could literally drop a pin. I mean, we put a little soft music on or whatever, just so it's not super silent. On Wednesdays, you'll come in that same conference room or just outside the conference room because we've grown a bit now. You'll see everyone standing up, holding the piece of paper in front of their face, chanting it aloud in unison. And then on Friday, no one will be in the conference room because everyone's spread out around the office role playing. The exact same script that we wrote on Monday that we chanted on Wednesday. That's our cadence.
And then how long do you think, like how many weeks until you feel like they've got it? Is it like a new script every week, or is it like 2 or 3 weeks for the same script?
Yeah. So it depends on like what series we're doing. Like when we're doing listing mastery, the focus is more so on the actual appointment script itself. So we'll follow essentially the same cadence for about a month. So we'll do it for 4 weeks in a row.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And then we'll go into, okay, now pricing objection handlers. And we'll do that for a month. And then from there, we'll go into general seller objections and we'll do that for a month. So I'd say about a month following the Monday, Wednesday, Friday cadence.
So Brent, what I'm hearing is, if someone's selling 1,000 homes a year and they think this is pretty serious, like should other agents think this is pretty serious, Brent? What do you think?
I'm just sitting back right now, honestly. Like I'm thinking, because I consider myself very well scripted. I know what to say, how to say it. I understand tonality, all of those things.
Yep.
And I'm like, now I'm in the presence of a master Jedi. And I'm like, I'm feeling like a Padawan. So my thought process is like, I don't do it enough for the things in my life. Like, I'm in the business of finding highly skilled agents to be in business with. Well, how dialed in is what I say and how I say it, and do I know what
that's what our lead up events
I'm going
you
for.
Come to our lead up events, we do the same thing. We do actual recruiting presentations on the stage. We handle like you'll see.
But now I'm just thinking through the lens of any agent, no matter what skill level, because I would consider myself high skill level. And now I'm thinking I'm like, there's a better way and a more in tuned and rigorous way to like embed it into your soul. And you just become better at communicating by doing that.
Yeah. For me personally, 7 years in a row, personally selling over 100 homes a year, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I still had a role play partner 7 years straight, Monday through Friday, all different parts of the country. And once I was done with my role play partners, then I just became the role play partner for the team. Then I just organized the role plays. And don't get me wrong, like when we have an odd number or whatever, like I'm role playing with it, I'm still involved in that. But 7 years in a row, even at personally over 100 units a year, I still role played every single day.
All right. So success leaves clues. So if you teach this and you have people that are in your organization that are practicing at that level, like what are some of your people producing?
So, yeah, I would say that our number one guy who follows, basically, he's like the mini me, if you will, and I mean that in a very respectful way. But literally, he's the one guy in the company that you ask any one of our agents, oh, he does what Jeff says with trusted with blind faith. He doesn't question anything. He literally does exactly what Jeff's plan is. He sells over 100 houses a year. He'll sell 130, 140 homes this year. So we have,
you say 130 to 140 homes by himself?
Yeah. Well, he's got one assistant. He's got an executive assistant.
Wow. That's incredible.
So if you're not selling 10 a month, maybe you should just listen to what people who are.
Yeah. And we do have, we like when I look at the rest of our producers. So just to give you an idea, we have, our average sales price is 300,000. So this might not sound sexy, but we have on average, any average year, about 5 people who do 10 million or more in volume. So, and the rest end up somewhere between 6 and 8 million, which is, in our market, that's considered pretty good.
That's really good. I mean, that's that gives your average unit count per agent. Like it's
29 units per person.
Holy cow. And I just know, like, coaching with teams and working with teams and just masterminding with teams.
Yeah.
I think the average, I would pretty much bet my life on it, is between 17 and 19 per agent on.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's probably somewhere around 15 or under 20 for sure.
Okay.
And I will tell you just a little kind of nugget there. Our average per person production is high because, for lack of a better way to put it, I stake a claim. Like I just go out and say, we have the highest per person production in the Midwest. And then it's like, okay, now we got to figure out how to have the
Don't make me right.
Correct. So I don't know how else to put it other than it's been our major focus since day one. Like not just volume and units and all this. The number one thing that we work on with our leadership team now is our per person productivity. How did we increase that each year? That's the number one thing we look at.
If you think of that from a metric perspective, that invests your time and energy and effort into going deep with each agent and ensuring that they are well equipped with what it takes to get to that 29.
Well, and also, by the way, 3 years ago, I think we were at 21 units or 22 units per person. And we made the decision, that, and I think we talked about this at dinner, we made the decision that moving forward, we are actually not going to do anything to proactively bring in new agents to our company. We're only focusing on producing agents. Now, we still have a few that you naturally attract because you're naming the community or whatever, but meaning like we're not running ads. We're not telling our agents to refer their people. Nope. We're only focused on producing agents. And that's what helped us go from 22 to 29 units per person the last couple of years, because just last year we brought in 1.9 million in GCI just from producing agents that we recruited last year. And it's amazing what happens when you make that your focus in a team, your size or our size.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know we got to jump over to news. So just recapping what I've heard before we do that, Jeff's I'll say it, I think he's an amazing coach and leader. And you're learning what he does to get his team selling over 1,000 homes a year. And there's a heavy, heavy, heavy focus on knowing what to say and how to say it. So no matter where you're at in real estate, I think you should take that to heart. So
before we transition, just rapid fire, if you were to pinpoint 3 things. So one is like knowing what to say and how to say it. Mm-hmm. What would you say are the other 2 things that agents should focus on in order to be killer or lethal in this?
Yeah. So when I think about like what we do that's unique, our accountability is off the chart. Like, we have a morning 7:25 call. We have an 8 a.m. club. Now, a lot of this is optional. The 7:25 call isn't optional, but we have an 8 a.m. club, a group of agents that hold each other accountable to being in at 8 a.m. where they pay each other $500 if they're not. We have the 10 a.m.s 3 days per week. We have one-on-ones that take place twice per month. They have accountability role plays set up with not only agents on our team, but agents, on teams across the nation. Every day you can find some piece of accountability in place for them. So we take accountability very seriously. Yeah.
What would number 3 be?
Number 3 would be, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, our agents are very much aware and putting a lot of time and energy into becoming really strong at video and social media. And so teaching them, we're very, just like we teach them what to say when calling an expired, we teach them what to say on their videos each week. We teach them, how to start with a hook, how to provide value in the middle. You never introduce yourself. We're very big on helping them get better with their video and social media skills. And we have seen for the first time ever, when I look at our listing and sales boards, SOI Instagram, PC referral Facebook, we're basically treating social media as if it's part of our database. Like we look at our Instagram followers as if they're in our database. Our Facebook friends, those people are in our database.
There's a lot of truth behind that. So,
yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you want to sell a lot of homes, know what to say, how to say it, practice rigorously.
Yeah.
Be accountable. Add
an intense level of uncomfortable accountability.
Yeah. And you need someone else in your life to have that type of accountability. You can't do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
The social media one was kind of a wild card. The other one I would add, if you didn't ask for a fourth, but really, if we're going to stay in the track of the three, our average agent is making 17 contacts a day. We have agents that ask to be held accountable to 25 to 30 contacts a day. Our average agent is making, so increase your contacts dramatically.
Yeah. It's a contact sport, especially today.
Yeah. I'm adding that one because I wanted to stay consistent with the theme. So the social media video one, we'll just call that the bonus one.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump into some headlines here. So we got 3 different headlines. We don't have to go to all of them. So whatever you want to jump into, but I'll start with the first one and I'll kind of sum up the article for you. But The Guardian wrote an article just a few weeks ago. And they wrote the article. Its headline is "Why First-Time Homebuyers Are at a Generational Low." And here's some of the pieces from it. So in 2024, first-time homebuyers dropped to just 1.1 million, which is the lowest since 1989. And they cite that it's driven by the rates above 6.5%. The average age for first-time homebuyers has risen to 38, which is compared to late 20s in the 1980s. And then lastly, buyers now need $126,700 per year in household income to afford the average home. So that's up $80,000 or up from $80,000. So it's up about 50% since 2021. So here's my question for you guys. Given that first-time homebuyers now need 6-figure incomes and are averaging 38 in age, do you think the traditional path to homeownership is being permanently disrupted?
Jeff, do you want to take the first stab at this? I got some good thoughts on it too.
Yeah. So the only thing I would add to that, so I think, obviously with the first-time home buyers getting later, a lot of that has to do with financial, but I actually think a lot of it has to do with the way a lot of people live today. I think that the fact that people don't want to make things permanent, there's like this sense of like, I don't want to be locked in to this. I don't want things to be permanent. I don't want to stick my roots in the ground until I know for sure what I'm going to be doing like later in life. And so I think people enjoy the flexibility, even if it costs them a little bit more per month of not being locked into any one location, especially when they can work from home in a lot of settings. So I think that is aside from cost, I think that's the number one thing affecting it. People don't want to plant their roots until they know for sure what they're going to be doing later in life.
I'm going to take an alternative perspective on this. My take is, because if you get on social media and you're on enough, there is a lot of complaints about home ownership among the first-time home buyer age bracket that is currently not buying. So it could be roots, but I actually think, Chase and I were talking about this the other day. I don't think it's a making money problem. I think it's a spending problem. And I think the way people, everybody has to have the latest iPhone, or they have to have the best car and all of these things. And then you actually do the math out of this article. I mean, they're obviously gaslighting a little bit. It's 428,000 is the median. That means I'm going to take a guess at the payment. The payment's probably, somewhere in the $3,000 to $3,500 range. 50% debt to income ratio is going to put it at 7. Now, they're saying you have to make 126. So they're probably taking into account massive amounts of debt because these people have spending problems. So to answer your question, Chase, the creativity side of things, number one, I think people should become more financially literate and understand, that their spending has negative consequences. That's number one. Number two, I think people should, agents, what the steps that we could take is we could start educating people on house hacking, on how to go buy a duplex and rent half of it out, or how to buy a house and get roommates.
Yeah.
It was tough for me when I was young. I was 21 when I bought a house. I was making, I think, maybe $2,000 a month. I wasn't making very much money, but I was able to get rental income from it. I had six people living with me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised based on that there's a lot of people that, as crazy as it sounds, for their primary, they'll be a renter, but I could see them going and getting investment properties and collecting income on those. But as a primary, still staying as a renter.
Yeah, that's actually, I think Grant Cardone actually pitches that as.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, he says never own your own house, which I think is horrible advice. And here's why: the average net worth of a renter.
I was just saying that I could see that being a thing.
Yeah. The average net worth of a renter is $5,000. The average net worth of a homeowner is $205,000. So, that's something to keep in mind. I think one more thing that kind of lines up with Jeff. I think a lot of people don't want to have the responsibility of homeownership. Right. So I think there are people who are like, oh, the landlord has to fix it, or someone else has to mow the lawn. That's why I like an apartment or whatever. But rates are obviously driving this affordability gap, from going from 80,000 in 2021 to 126,000 today. That's a huge jump, and that's all rate driven. The home prices haven't gone up. In fact, that takes us to our next article. This is the headline in CNBC 2 weeks ago. 1/3 of major housing markets see falling prices. So I think I'll just give you a couple notes from it. A growing number of metros are now reporting falling home prices, signaling market shifts. Pending home sales drop month over month and year over year by 1% and 3% respectively, even as listings are increasing. And then sellers are increasingly delisting instead of lowering prices, keeping homes off the market and locking prices high despite low demand. So with falling prices in some markets, but sellers hesitant to drop their asking price, are we witnessing a standstill in motion?
Well, I will tell you, obviously, there's a lot of markets across the country that aren't experiencing declines. So, Detroit is not yet, but the signs are on the wall. Available inventory is increasing, days on market's increasing, expires are increasing, closings are down, right? Like all the signs are there, like it's for sure coming. And I believe it's coming. I do believe prices are going to come down. And, I know there's a lot of controversy around this topic, but I think interest rates need to stay exactly where they're at. So that way they can come down. Because we need them to come down, in my opinion. But that's a whole other subject, I guess. But I without question believe that people are sitting and waiting. And also, if you look back at the history of how long someone stays in a home, on average, we know it's like 9 to 10 years. I think maybe it's a little higher today, maybe 11 years. Well, what was happening 9-10 years ago? 2014, 2015. The prices were starting to skyrocket. Rates were great. Then COVID hit. Rates went down. Everyone took advantage of great rates, and so they made whatever move they were going to make in that moment. And so if they moved in 2020, in 2019, in 2021 because the rates were so great, they took advantage of it. And obviously units sold and everything was off the chart during those years. We're not at the point to where those people are ready to move again. So we had such an influx of people that took advantage of low interest rates. It's only been 4 years. It's only been 5 years. They're not at the point where they're ready to upgrade or downgrade. And I think that is playing into it as well. That is a factor that not a lot of people are probably considering.
I tend to agree. I think prices will lower. I think we're going to see a plateau and a lowering. I think what's happening right now is sellers are recalibrating their expectations, and there's time that the proof of the market has to show up for them to understand and recalibrate before they make a move, for sure. I do think that it shouldn't be a controversial topic for prices going down, because, if you bought, call it between 2020 and 2022, I think they're probably most at risk for prices going down, but most people are sitting on a massive amount of equity. So if prices dropped, even 10 or
It's not going to
15%,
affect it. Yeah.
they're still in a great position.
Yeah.
And they may be selling and making less, but they're also, in turn, and we all know this, they're going and paying 10 or 15% less for a house.
Yep.
So it all comes out in the wash, and it's better overall for the country.
So I'll take a flip side of this. That's going to be a little bit of an alternative conversation point, but leading up to the 2018, 2019, 2020, the biggest objection we would see, and whether it was locally or even people I was coaching nationally, they're all hearing the same objection. I would sell my home, but there's nothing to buy. Okay. Yeah. Then we hit COVID and all the crap, right? And then rates go up. And now people are like, why would I sell my home? I'm going to get rid of my rate. Right. So I think there's this pent up demand of people who want to move from 2017, 2018, all the way until today. They would like to move, but it just hasn't been the favorable thing that they wanted. So my point in bringing that up is I do think there's a lot of people who would love to move, and they are just waiting for the right time. And at some point, guys, life will make them move. And because I think there's people that are probably 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years beyond when they intended to move. And at some point they're going to be like, screw it. I don't care what the rate is, or I don't care that I'm not getting the perfect home. I have to move. So what do you guys think of that?
Well, here's my thought. And I love that you brought this up. Is I think there's two agents out there. There's the agent that focuses on the headline, and then that becomes their reality. And they say, no one's going to buy or sell houses. Therefore, I'm slow. Therefore, my business is going to fail, or whatever. And then there's the agent that, sees through the headline and realizes that there are always people buying and selling, and they're going to build their business around the people that are going to make their life choices. So when you say that, that's what I think of as the two camps of agents. And
I'm 1,000% behind that. I've always said, and I've witnessed, average agents justify, top producers compete. And when you have headlines over and over and over again, people start to justify, well, my listings are down because listings are down in the market, and that's normal. Oh, sales are down. Yeah, my sales are kind of down too. The decline in sales always pales in comparison in the decline of agents who work those sales. And I don't necessarily mean, because I know people say, well, I don't know. It doesn't seem like, agents are getting out of the business, like everyone predicted they would. That doesn't mean that just because they keep their license active doesn't mean that they're still in the business.
Yeah, there's just a lot more Uber drivers.
Correct. And they've got an active real estate license. They're doing 2 or 3 other things. So I actually believe anytime the market softens, our value to consumers go up. They need us more. They value us more. And I actually believe when I see a number that says, oh, closings were down this year, I instantly think more for me. Because I know how many average people are going to buy into this idea that things are down. So it's going to be down for them.
Man,
that's wild, man.
There was 2 really powerful things he said in that rundown. And I'm like, holy cow, man. If you're an agent listening to this, rewind it, listen again, because that was probably the most powerful part of this entire podcast. That was good.
Okay, well, I will leave the other article. What do you got to round us out of here, Brent?
All right. So just as a reminder to everybody out there, I swear I'm not a social media junkie. I'm not on social media 24/7, but somehow the algorithm has chosen to favor me, and I like and comment and save hot takes, meaning other real estate agents that are saying, kind of profound or things that get people's attention, really.
Yeah.
And so I handpick a couple of them, and I like to just say them on here and get your guys' thoughts on what you really think when you hear the hot take.
All right. Let's roll.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
The best buyers right now are renters, and they're being forgotten inside of your CRM. What do you think?
Not for me. I mean, for me, the best buyers are ones that have homes to sell. So I've always been I've just been, a listing agent focused. So I'm, we're not teaching our agents to go after apartment complexes and that we want to focus on sellers who also then have to go to buy. Because if I can get, that's the thing about being a strong listing agent, not to get super preachy here, but every time you take it, we hold our listings accountable to 2 transactions. So we actually have a document that we follow. It's called the 2-to-1 formula. And we believe that every listing is responsible for 2 transactions. And we got 11 things that we can do to get a second transaction from a listing. I'm not getting a second transaction from a renter who needs to buy. And so that's my take on that.
Chase?
Wow. I'm going to say go to the beginning of this video and listen to what Jeff's broker said when Jeff almost got out of the business, which I wanted to say something, by the way. So he said, do you want to be an employer or an employee? So I'll let you go back and listen to that. But what I wanted to say to you, Jeff, is like, and everyone listening, is imagine if that broker didn't say that to Jeff and he got out of the business. Like, that is wild to me. Your words and your conversations and the people you mentor and help, they matter. So go to the next hot take, Brent. Unless you got something.
I think about it, I probably have a bunch of car dealerships right now.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to hopefully, if you're listening to this, you read between the lines of what I'm saying. I'm going to say selfishly, I hope there are agents that go out and focus on the renters because they're going to bring buyers to my listings. But I 100% agree with Jeff. If you want to build a real business and take control of your business, then you need to focus on buyers that own homes because they're going to be a listing. That's the person that you want in your
help the renter, but don't make it your focus.
Of course, correct. You're never turning anybody down. Yeah.
But if there are any agents out there that want to make it their focus and they want to lead generate that, please do. Read between the lines. All right. We have a couple more minutes. So if you're waiting for the market to come back, you're already behind.
Come back. What does that mean? Come back.
If you're waiting for 2021 again or 2020 again.
Let me rephrase it. If you're waiting for a good market to come back, you're already behind.
I'll jump in and Jeff can pile on. So I think what I'm hearing, and I don't know if this is their intent, but it's like if you're sitting on your hands waiting for things to get better, that is not the way that you want to approach this business. Like, you need to adapt to what's going on in the market you're at. Like, if you're looking for a savior, look into the mirror because you need to save yourself.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So, if and what I mean by worse, like I'm talking, a lot of times they look at, like, all the economists look at 2 things, right? Homes closed and average sales price, right? So I think the homes closed number is probably going to stay pretty stable, if not come down a little bit. But what's going to come down is prices. And so it's going to go down before they go up, especially if interest rates stay where they're at.
Yeah, there's not a magic bounce in the market that's going to come and save you. I think that's the moral of the story. Yep. There's plenty of opportunity in the market for anybody willing to get it. And it doesn't really matter what the market is. I think, Jeff, you're proof of that because you built a massive business in a market where so many agents are going out of business.
Yep. Yeah. But I do, just to pile onto that, I do agree. We probably are not going to see another what we saw in 2020, 2021 again. I'm not referring to COVID. I'm referring to interest rates and the crazy 30, 50 offers per property. I don't actually believe we're going to see that again. I really don't.
Good. I actually hope we never see it again.
Yeah.
So Brent, when we were talking earlier with Jeff before we went live, I think he said he'd give us a few extra minutes. So selfishly, I'd like to take those. I got a question for you, Jeff. Mm-hmm. AI is in the news and headlines everywhere. Yeah. Should agents be concerned, worried, and what should they do?
Yeah. Well, the new buzzword about AI is we're not going to be replaced by AI, but we're going to be replaced by real estate agents who use AI. Yeah,
I've heard that.
Yep. You definitely, without question, have to embrace AI. Listen, I look at it like this, okay? Business 101 is time is money. And if I can get an automated product or system to do a handful of things for me that saves me time and doesn't impact the experience, I'm all for it. The mistake I think a lot of agents are making, though, is they're using AI for their messaging. They're using AI for their marketing. They're using AI for advertising. They're using AI to kind of help them build a brand. And it's not actually building who they are. Like, people want to hear and see from you in your language, in your tone, in your voice, in your words. They don't want picture perfect punctuation. And, you see today, I mean, it's very easy to tell who used AI on a social media post versus who just typed. That's not
What's
what people
the dead
want.
giveaway, Jeff? What's the dead giveaway? What do you see? What are the 2 or 3 things?
Oh, the elongated hyphen,
The EM
overuse.
dashes.
Yep. The emojis next to every little check marks. And honestly, I think that the social media algorithms, Instagram and Facebook, if they're not already, I would not be surprised if they will start to pick up on when AI was used, and they will not expose those posts as much as they will expose raw and real content.
They'll suppress
And they're actually
it,
going to end up hurting
Here's why I believe
agency
you.
marketing.
Here's why I believe you. I don't think they would do it because it was produced by AI. So I think that's the misnomer. But I think people are going to not react the same to things that are inauthentic and produced by AI. Therefore, the algorithm will naturally start to identify what is produced by AI and push it out.
No,
someone said in our chat, Jeff, if you forget to erase the prompt.
So listen, again, at the end of the day, you want some help writing listing descriptions. And don't get me wrong, like, we have to understand that it is going to evolve, and it's going to be better 3 years from now than it is today.
100%.
But for what it is right now, in terms of like how much time should an agent's day be spent on using and learning AI, I would still say it's less than 10%.
Okay. But they should be learning to use it and how it can work in their business, just a small amount.
However, it can make things more efficient without actually changing your brand and your personality and what it essentially, like, behind the scenes stuff. If we can use it for all the behind the scenes stuff, I'm all for it.
Yeah, let me do a little plug here. If you're an agent listening to this, happy to share it. You can go to realestategrowth.network to get this. So what it is we've created a inspection contingency repair response GPT, meaning you can say what you want done in it and it will formulate the response for you. Now, of course, you're the licensed agent, you need to review it, but just putting in the wording into those responses can sometimes take 10 15 minutes. This does it in a minute, and then you can just make 5 seconds, and then you can make the tweak. So but I think that's what you're referring to is
that's good by me. Yep. I love it.
Yeah, that saves you time. It makes you more effective and efficient. It's not doing your job for you because you're putting in the input. It just has been taught the output that makes sense for a licensed agent to put into a repair response.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears. One more question, Jeff. So you are obviously a great coach and trainer, and you run a great coaching organization. What is the one thing you consistently teach, but agents just don't seem to implement?
Without question, it is. And it is also the one thing that would change their life. And that is following a strict schedule and doing the same things at the same times, day in and day out. Meaning waking up at the same time, brushing your teeth at the same time, being in the shower at the same time, working out at the same time, being at your office at the same time, preparing for your calls at the same time, doing your prospecting first, just following. And the thing is, I 23 years of doing this, 21 of them in leadership. Here's what I finally realized, and you guys will appreciate this. I threw out this idea that I was going to help agents create a strong daily schedule, And we don't even teach that. At Glover U, we teach them how to have a strong morning. That's it. We can't get a full day. So if I can get a strong morning out of you and teach you what to do from the time you wake up until noon, and you can stick to that 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week, depending where you're at in your career, you're going to be just fine. But that's the number one thing that we teach over and over and over and over. And it is the last thing agents think about. They think about where their next lead is going to come from, where their next deal is going to come from, or even the agents that do prospect semi-regularly. But the idea of sticking to a schedule every single day sounds boring, mundane, routine. It's not why I got into this business. And it's also the number one thing that can change their life.
The counterintuitive thought that I think agents have here is agents want freedom, and they think having that schedule removes their freedom.
Yep.
And I think the moral of the story that they should be hearing in this is that it actually gives you freedom. It actually gives you a life worth living and a business worth owning, for sure.
And they disguise the reason because of service. Well, I had to respond to my client. We had to get the closing done. We had to do the walkthrough in the morning. No, you didn't. Nope. They think that's good service. You can provide. We have a sign in our office. It's like one of the first signs we ever put up. It's above our copier today. And it says, there is no prospect, there is no customer, and there is no problem that cannot wait until after 12 noon. That has been, I mean, the paper is faded. It's like yellow now. It's been up there for so long. There's no prospect. There's no customer. There's no problem that cannot wait until 12 noon. So if you focus on finding business in the morning, you got the entire afternoon to service. Your business will be just fine. None of this yo-yo up and down, good month, bad month, good month, bad month.
And this is coming from someone who has sold and still sells a ton of real estate.
Number one differentiator.
And so real quick, let's just, I don't know if we're going to finish with this thought, but my question around that is, is the solve to that setting proper expectations with the people that you're in business with?
With your clients?
Yeah, with your clients.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So when I go on listing appointments, I let them know my schedule. I give them a copy of my schedule. And so now it's not like specific, like, on Mondays, I do that, it's just in the mornings. It's like, okay, I'm prospecting for buyers for my listings. I'm prospecting for sellers for my buyers, right? It's a little generic, but it is the message is you're not going to hear from me in the morning. Anytime you reach out to me about anything related to your transaction, you're going to hear from me in the afternoon.
Okay, hold on. I just have to hit on this because you said something earlier and I had the thought, with buyers, they know, like, and trust you. But with sellers, you need them to know, respect, and trust you.
Yes.
And if you slide your schedule across the desk to them and show them how professional you are and the schedule you adhere to,
yep,
I'm guessing that builds an immense amount of respect from the seller.
That, and from a competitive standpoint, I always encourage them, if you're going to be interviewing other agents, I encourage you to ask them for a copy of theirs.
That is a hack right there, man.
Yeah, I've literally never heard of an agent giving their schedule to another to a listing. So there's no chance. Now,
our lead listing agent is starting that today.
Yeah, there's no chance the other agent's going to have it.
Yeah, why don't you ask the City of Trees team for their schedule? Here's mine, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Golf. Oh shit. Yeah. That's
good.
funny.
Awesome.
I wonder what the pushback is when they hear that. They're like, I'm not sharing that. That's private. I'm really curious.
There were too many nuggets anybody watching this, I would watch it 2 or 3 times. There was so much good information in it.
Well, and this is what you get going to his courses, right? So we're going to be sending our team. We got a competition coming up. We're going to be sending our team to some of Jeff's stuff. So he's got we do our own courses. So we believe in coaching and we believe in leadership and training. So thank you, Jeff.
Well, I appreciate that. And not only, I mean, you guys are good at what you do, but remember, and for anyone who's leading a team or leading a brokerage listening to this, you're never a prophet in your own land. So I could literally say the same things you guys say, and they're going to come back and say, I'll run through a brick wall to do that. I mean, it's actually the example I give, and we'll finish with this is no exaggeration. I have to have Glover U coaches that are coaching my material come in to our team sales meetings and Zoom and share a topic on prospecting or lead generation or lead follow-up or presenting or whatever. And it's something I wrote and have been teaching, but they walk, oh my gosh, we see the feedback. That was one of the best sales meetings we've ever had. You guys, we got to have Greg Erlinger back next month to do the same thing. And it's like, he taught what yes, we'll have Greg back. Absolutely. Right. So
Oh man,
you can't be a prophet in your own land.
All right, real quick. And then we'll say our goodbyes. When is the Live Unreal Summit again, and where is it at?
January 12th through the 15th. It's at the Westin Kierland Resort and Spa. If you go to gloveru.com, it's all over the front page of the website. We've got a discounted
we'll put a
rate.
link in the description once this YouTube goes live. It'll be.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a 3.5-day conference, 1,500 agents from all over North America. Our goal is 2,000, so we know we're going to have at least 1,500. Agents, team owners, broker owners, leaders, plus a ton of real estate agents. And our ticket price right now is $399. So the early bird is $399. So people are like, how do you charge $399 for a 3.5-day conference at a beautiful resort like that? Well, the answer is we don't make money on this event. I'm doing this for the long run, the long game. So that's how we're able to charge so low.
Cool.
Wow. Well, if anybody just heard that, they need to take advantage of it while you're choosing to not make money.
Yeah, one day we're gonna have to raise our prices, but
yeah.
Anyways,
I would assume. All right, Jeff, dude, thank you so much, man. This was an incredible conversation. So much insight. I've got a few things that I'm gonna go back and rally the team, and we're probably gonna have implemented by noon. So
yeah, well, it's been fun watching you guys grow and seeing what you guys do there in Idaho. And I think anyone who's following and listening knows that they're in good hands, paying attention to what you guys have to say. So keep up the good work as well.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you, man.
All right. You bet. See you guys.